Welcome back. So today we're going to go over food. So I'm going to go over a couple of meal plans that I like to do, some tricks to keep my nutrition up and my protein levels up, some extra additives that I put in my food, as well as to how I plan out my food to make sure that I have enough food for my allotted days that I'm out there, what I'm packing it in, and how I'm cooking it. So today is all about my food, which is a very important part of the trail. Because if you're not healthy and fed, you're not getting very far. So, starting off with, I am a cooker. I'm not a cold soaker. I like my food hot. So, what I cook my food in is a 750 ml titanium toast little pot. It's a good size for me so far. I use a small stove. I got it off of Amazon. I could not even tell you what kind it is, other than that it is cheap, but it's worked and it served me well for several years. It has its own little starter, so I don't have to worry about having a lighter with me, but I do always carry one, and it puts out like that, and it works really well. I mean, nothing works great in the wind, so you gotta have to shield it, but that's my little stove, and oh goodness, and that is my gas, which I tend to buy the larger containers versus the smaller ones, so no, they don't fit in there, but they last a lot longer, and I don't have to worry about it in case I don't want to buy fuel or am unable to get fuel. And then I just put elastic on it to hold it all together instead of a little cozy pot, which some people use, but whatever works for you. So that's that. I eat my food with a spoon, and all of my food goes in my bear bag, which is a large Dyneema waterproof sack from Ultralight Sacks. It's nothing special, well, other than being Dyneema. It's got a couple of hooks there so it doesn't weigh too heavily on the actual clasp. And that's it's supposed to hold roughly 5 days of food, which should be my longest carry on the AT. Now the 100-mile wilderness is a 10-day food carry, but we do plan to use the halfway drop. So we don't have to carry 10 days worth of food, because roughly each day of food weighs about approximately 2 pounds. That's what they always average out to. So that's a lot of extra food that I don't want to carry when I don't have my trail legs and I'm very tired and just starting out. So 5 days of food is more than adequate, and that should be able to carry it. So when Jeff and I go to the store to do our resupply, we have all of our large packages. So, you know, all the big stuff. Clearly we're not just going to take all of that, we're going to portion it out. So what I like to do for my meals is, once I plan them all out, I will portion each meal and then each day. So each meal will have its own bag, and then each day will also have its own bag. So it does seem like a lot of extra plastic, but it works. So for example, my breakfasts tend to be pretty monotonous, and I even eat these breakfasts now. I have been for quite some time. I'm a bit of a creature of habit sometimes, and I like the same meal repeatedly, ad nauseum. But I like these little Quaker oatmeal ones, because you just add boiling water and you let them sit and they work well. So I love maple, so I'm just sitting the maple, and then just a plain, because 2 maples is, that's just crazy talk. That's a lot of maple. But I like 2 of them. And then I will add, because just oatmeal in and of itself doesn't really sustain me. I want some extra protein in my breakfast. So I will, if I have a protein powder, I will take a scoop of that. If I don't have protein powder, I tend to use these Carnation Breakfast Essentials, which has 15 grams of protein and vitamins and fiber, and they're actually pretty solid. I mean, don't read too heavily into the ingredient list, but they're not too bad. So I tend to put these 3 together. Now, that's 3 separate packages. That's 3 sets of garbage per day, every day. That's not going to work for me. So before we go out, and I'll be doing this on trail as well, I will take all of that and empty it into a bag like this. So this is my breakfast for day 1. and I will have a breakfast that looks like this every day. So I know exactly what's in it, how many calories, and I don't have to worry about packing out 3 bags of garbage. And then I can just keep reusing this. So that is breakfast. Now, with my breakfast, I'm a coffee drinker, so I will definitely be having an instant coffee. I do carry a mug with me, separate from my pot, because I eat out of my pot and I drink out of my coffee mug. Some people do both in one thing, however they want to do it, works for them. I do have an extra cup. It's a 2.5 ounces, so it's worth its weight to me because I like my coffee and my breakfast at the same time. So I'll definitely be carrying coffee packets, whatever kind I can get a hold of. It's instant coffee. They all honestly taste the same to me. Now, for the rest of the day, for the afternoon, I'm not really a specific luncher. I'm a snacker, a grazer. My food tends to be heavily snack based. I do try to eat as healthily as possible because I do want to try not to eat the kind of food that's going to make my body be cranky and inflamed. And that's things like extra sugar and extra chemicals. Now, it doesn't mean I'm not going to eat candy and I'm not going to eat the bad stuff. I most definitely will, but I'm going to try to keep a bit of a handle on it. So I'll choose things like trail snacks that have, lots of good nuts in them, good dried fruit, so I can get some minerals and vitamins in that, as well as, again, more dried fruit. I tend to be big on things like beef jerky, and I know these have full of sulfates and all sorts of probably terrible stuff, but I mean, as far as proteins go, they're not bad, and they're a nice easy snack to eat, and there's not a lot of waste. Again, I'll take out the packaging and put it in my own bag so that I don't have to carry this one out, and I'll just keep reusing my bags. I also tend to have protein bars. It depends on what kind I'm in the mood for. I do like the peanut butter ones. They're my favorite. So whatever ones I can get my hands on that I actually like are the ones I'm going to be buying. So I always carry 1 or 2 of those for the afternoon. Sometimes, if I actually want to sit and stop and have a nice leisurely lunch, I will do the hiker tortilla, because we all like a good tortilla, because you can't really mess that up. I enjoy peanut butter, so I'll be doing the peanut butter jam thing. In Canada, we don't have the squeezable peanut butter or the packaged, or the foil packaged salmon or tuna or chicken or any of that type of stuff. So we'll be having to get those while we're down there. I've no doubt I'll be using those. Now, with this type of food that I've started off with, there's not a lot of fresh fruit and veggies in here because those tend to be heavy in water weight, but there are some fruit and veggies that do travel really well. Things like cucumbers, baby carrots, spinach. Some people like apples. I'm not a huge apple fan. I like mine dried, but whatever works for you. I do like having, especially for the daytime, snacking on baby carrots, just because it's good for your eyes, good for all sorts of things, and it's easy, and once they're gone, there's no garbage. Within tortillas, again, you can do sandwiches, so add spinach or whatever you've got. So I'll be trying to incorporate as many fresh fruits and vegetables as possible, but that's not always the case or an option, so you work with what you got. I'll definitely be taking a multivitamin because I want to keep my nutrition up there. I know some people tend to eat a lot of bad food because trail food tends to go that direction, and you're hungry. You need to eat so many calories in the beginning. I'm not going to need that. I'll probably only need about 2,000 calories a day, but it won't take long before I start to need about 4,000 to 5,000 calories. So trying to consume that much food is going to be a challenge. But I'm definitely up for it. I do like to eat now, so I can pretty much snack and get away with just grazing for the afternoon. But I do like to have a cooked dinner. One of my favorite dinners that I do enjoy are these little Knorr sidekicks. I like the noodle ones. So I will boil some water, and I tend to, instead of cooking it in the pot, because it always burns. I don't know what I do, it's always going to burn. So I'll put it in not just a regular Ziploc bag, but if I happen to have an old like the pre-hiker meal, like the Mountain House, that type of thing, and I saved the bag, I'll use that bag. But if I don't have that, I have this reusable sort of Ziploc bag. It's not thin like your quart or gallon bags here. It's a bit thicker. So I know I can pour boiling water in here and it won't deform or leach out any funky stuff. And I can just keep reusing it. I'm not like I can't reuse those, but this is meant to be truly reusable. That's its purpose. It's Rusby, I think. But yeah, they're great little bags, and they have monsters on them. So I'll just pour this in here with the boiling water and let that rehydrate while I get my tent and whatnot ready. But because this is just mainly carbs, there's really not much else in it. I tend to either add some sausage to it, which Jeff and I would take something like this and split it, so I'd have a few days worth of food in that, as well as either a block of cheese or cheese sticks or cheese something. I'm probably always going to have cheese, because a hard cheese, really, you can get a good couple days out of it before it starts to go all greasy and melt on you. But I will tend to add some meat to this, and if I don't have any meat, I tend to add textured vegetable protein, which is a soy-based product. It kind of, when it's reconstituted, it resembles like hamburger, but it's super lightweight, and it's about a quarter cup worth, so about 5 or 6 teaspoons of this. You get about 9 grams of protein, so it's a really efficient way of getting extra protein that weighs nothing and doesn't go bad on you because it's already dried. It's good stuff. I like it. It's pretty easily accessible up here in Canada. I'm thinking it's accessible down in the States. I don't know, so I guess I'll have to find that out. I don't have any with me at present because I ate it. Oops. So yeah, and then with that, because there's also no veggies with this, I tend to really like taking spinach with me on my trips. It seems like an odd thing to take, but spinach, I will obviously not take a big box like this. I'll just throw it into here, and it compresses really well. It's super lightweight. There's not a lot of water weight to this, and if it gets mashed in my bag, I don't care, because it's spinach, because I'm just going to melt it in my dinner, and you don't even notice it's there, and you get a ton of leafy greens, which everybody's deficient in for the most part on a regular basis. So it's a great way to get extra vitamins and vitamin K and calcium and all that good stuff that comes with spinach into your food. And you can add it to anything and everything. So I always bring spinach with me, and I like my baby carrots and whatever other fruits and whatnot I can get my hands on that works well in the bush. What else? Now, one thing that's not really related to food is I do take a little cutting board with me for when I'm prepping food. This is mostly for picnic tables and whatnot, when I'm slicing things, so I don't cut my fingers, because I am a little clumsy. But it also protects my food from whatever surface I'm preparing it on, because right now there was a known norovirus that kind of went through the bubble a bit, because people are eating off the same kind of surfaces. They're not cleaning it because it's a picnic table. You don't really think about it, or there's lots of ways you can get it, but it is by contact. So if I have my own little thing that I'm cutting things on and eating off of, then I don't have to worry about that so much, and I know it's clean. It really weighs nothing. You can buy the pre-sized ones like this, or you can just go to the dollar store and get one of the cheap ones and cut it up to whatever size you want. It's super easy to have around, and like I said, keeps me from cutting myself mostly. Finally, because a lot of this food is dry and dehydrated, you're going to need either water to rehydrate it before you eat it, or you're going to need water to digest it so it can be rehydrated. So you really should probably drink a lot more water than you're anticipating. You should anyway, because you're hiking and you're sweating it all out. So with that, I mean, granted, there is a lot of salt in this food. That's the nature of dehydrated food. But I do like to use electrolytes. Again, none of this is sponsored at all. But I just tend to, I know you can buy tablets in little packets. I just tend to buy it bulk and scoop it into my water because I take an Nalgene bottle, and if you've watched any of my other videos, you know that this serves multiple purposes other than just being a water bottle. It's also my hot, my bed heater and my clothes dryer. So, but I will put my electrolytes in here, and I'll probably have a couple of these a day. I also like the flavor, so it's kind of nice from just plain water. But it adds some extra vitamins and minerals into my water and makes sure that, I don't get fatigued and whatnot through all the excess work that we're doing because we're hiking. And, making sure that I have the adequate protein, because protein is really essential when you're hiking. You're breaking down your own muscles, you're trying to build muscle, so you need something to replace it. And if you're eating just a lot of sugar and carbohydrates, you're going to take a toll on your body. A younger body can rebound a little faster. I'm a little older. I need more protein in general anyway, just because as we age, we don't utilize our protein quite as well. So you should really be thinking about a gram, a pound per day if you can get your hands on it. That's why adding the extra, protein at breakfast, making sure that I have an extra protein bar at lunch, making sure that there's protein in pretty much every meal I eat so that I'm getting enough. Is that always going to be the case? No. When I get into towns, I'm going to try, I'm going to eat the greasy burgers and the pizzas and all that, stuff, because I'll probably want it and can handle the calories. But I'm also going to try to camel up with fruits and veggies as well, just to make sure I'm also getting all the extra nutrients and minerals that I won't be getting on a daily basis anymore. I will be taking a multivitamin just to kind of supplement that. But you should always get as much of your nutrients that you do need from your food versus supplements, but do what you can and you make it work. So I think that pretty much covers my meal prepping plan. Again, I like to separate each day out into a bag. That way I know each day is covered and I know how many days of food I have left, and I don't eat myself out of my food before I get to where I'm going. Or if I have extra days left over, I know how much I don't have to buy for the next one, or that type of thing. So I hope you found that valuable and informative, and if you did, give it a like, thumbs up, and do subscribe, because we're going to be on the trail pretty soon, and hopefully you'll want to see how this adventure plays out. So thank you very much for watching.